I went to see a film based on a book without having read the book first. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina, and I make bookish content here on this channel every week, and then movie reviews just like this one here at the weekend. All of my movie reviews are spoiler free, and I will leave a playlist of my recent reviews linked up above in case you are looking for something to watch this weekend. So yeah, I went to see Harold and the Purple Crayon without ever having really sort of revisited the book of Harold and the Purple Crayon. However, if you are in the same boat as me, at the beginning of the film, we have a narrator who is obviously writing the book, and it takes you through the book and takes you through the story. And we're sort of dumped in the what happens next after the Harold and the Purple Crayon book. So this was really interesting because I feel like this was a bit of a homage to the writer of that book, because the writer of that book gets mentioned in the film, and the writer's house is obviously, again, I didn't know this, but I found this out, was an informative film. The writer's house is obviously in Providence, Rhode Island, or somewhere in Rhode Island, because the film is set in and around Providence. However, you sort of go outside a little bit and we get to see the writer's house, which is really cool. Again, not really a spoiler, but Providence features in the film. And I'm like, I don't think I've watched an awful lot of other films set in Providence. Whenever the first car is shown in a film, I always kind of look at the license plate to work out where the film's going to be set. And I was like, oh, Rhode Island. You don't really see Rhode Island plates outside of Rhode Island. Unless you're like us and you end up with picking up a rental car at LaGuardia that has a Rhode Island plate. Who gets a Mustang with a Rhode Island plate at LaGuardia Airport, apart from us, apparently. So it was interesting having that as a setting. It meant that the kind of film was a little bit sort of cool and damp, which is quite nice, because you see so many films that are just set in and around California, don't you, where it's all sunny and wonderful all the time, or like if people are in New York, it's like either sunny or snowy. There's no like damp and miserable bit in between. So that definitely added another layer to the film. And then it was kind of like, right, okay, so we're on the what happens next bit of the book. So as you've seen from the trailer, this is not a spoiler, Harold ends up in the real world, and then we get to meet the real world moose and porcupine. So I went into this one knowing it's a family film, it's a kids film. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know I watch a lot of kids films, partly because I just enjoy watching all films, but partly because I like to kind of keep up with what the children that I'm teaching might be watching as well. And so it's part of my job. No, not really, but it kind of is. But there was a lot of tenuous things in this film. It was like, oh, now suddenly this is happening, and oh, now suddenly this is happening. It reminded me of another book to movie adaptation of a very famous children's book, and that's Clifford the Big Red Dog. So if you went to see Clifford the Big Red Dog, or in your home watch Clifford the Big Red Dog, I'll see if I can find my review of that and leave it linked up above. Then you know what to expect with this one, because it was very, very like that one. I thought, given the trailers and kind of like seeing the trailers and seeing that Zoe Deschanel is in this, and kind of, there's a child, and the guy from Shazam that I can never remember his name. I think it's Zachary something, isn't it? I thought, well, it's set in the real world, and he can use his purple crayon to draw things in the real world, and some of it's really quite cool. Like, there are some magical effects that are really quite good, and I would say that the CGI is really good, having just recently watched Spider-Man 1, like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, on the big screen for the first time, that 2002 CGI that we know and love from episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars. The CGI was really quite good, because obviously, it is a lot more, digitally computerized world now. But the storyline itself, there was a lot of things where it was just like, oh, and suddenly that's just happened. Oh, and suddenly this human believes that that's happening. And oh, suddenly, yeah. There was also a part in the film where Zoe Deschanel's son, Mel, he is in school and something happens in the school and he just gets sent home. And I'm like, wow. This is like, I know it was for the plot, but like there was no investigation here. It was just like he gets sent to the principal, and then the principal calls and gets mum to pick him up. Like, where was the investigation as to what actually happened here? Where was the restorative justice here? And why is he just being sent home just like that? Like, where's the paperwork? Where's the investigation? Where's the multiple phone calls and the multiple people and the checking of the cameras in the school? I don't know. That annoyed me. But yeah, I wouldn't say often with this kind of film, I laugh or I'm like, oh, that was really sweet, or it's, there's a moral message to take away. And it just felt a bit flat. There was too many things that you had to kind of suspend your disbelief for. And therefore it was just kind of hard to settle into it and enjoy it. There was some fun moments, but overall, I just thought it was fairly weak. And when you're coming to, should you pay your cinema going money to go and see this one? And my answer to this one is definitely no. I think that this is one that you could easily watch when it comes to streaming at home and have just a good time. I don't think you have to watch it on the big screen. I also think that at the minute, there are a lot of other things in the cinema that you could go and see. Obviously, with it being the summer holidays, there are other family friendly things that you could go and see. I still have not yet seen Garfield, and I'm kind of wishing that I'd just gone to see that instead, because there's like one showing a day of that in the minute since it's summer holidays. I also would have happily gone and seen Inside Out 2 for a fourth time and had just as good a time. So yes, should you pay your cinema going money to go and see this one? No, I don't think you should. It was fine. There was nothing overtly wrong with it, but it just was a bit weak, in my opinion. And I think I would probably rather read the book. So there you have it. As always, if there is another film that you would like me to go and watch here this week and bring my thoughts to you next week, then do let me know in comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on my future bookish content, as well as my movie review coming your way next weekend. I will be back with another video for you very soon, so I will see you then. Thanks for watching.